Hi John, I'm here today to talk to you about some of the results from the recent tests you took. Originally you came into our clinic a couple weeks ago because you were experiencing difficulty at home and at work. So we had you fill out a couple of tests so we could get a better understanding of your levels of depression, anxiety, hopelessness, and risk for suicide. Before we get started, I want you to know that any of the information that we obtain from the test are not going to be used to directly diagnose you. And I want to state that up front to eliminate any concern that you're going to be put into a box or labeled. What these tests are going to help me do as a practitioner working with you is develop a treatment plan based on some of the areas concerned identified by the test, and also monitor your treatment plan so we can get an idea of what's working and what's not working as we go along. With that in mind, I'd also like to talk about how we get some of the scores. When we are measuring your level of severity, we're measuring you against other people in the general population. And this is important because everybody gets anxious or blue from time to time. But we have to have a measure for understanding when these levels are maladaptive or clinical. And when your scores are significantly higher for things like depression, hopelessness, and anxiety, then we say that you're at a clinical level because your scores are significantly higher than the rest of the population. And as we look at your scores, with the Beck Depression Inventory, you scored in the severe range. You made a comment that you would kill yourself if you had the chance. You affirmed that statement. And as a practitioner, this does concern me, especially as we look at your Beck hopelessness scale, in which you scored moderate to severe. And the concern with this is people who measure moderate to severe on the Beck hopelessness scale are at a greater risk for suicide. Now, when it came to your actual suicide scale, you didn't qualify for any clinical levels. So I do want to talk to you about some of the contradictions there, because the picture that your other tests seem to be indicating is that you are possibly at a risk, but I would like to get your thoughts on it. Your anxiety scale, you scored moderate as well. You did mention a fear of losing control, which also, when we tie that back into the Beck depression and the Beck hopelessness, that really paints a concerning picture for your risk of suicide. So from here, I'd like to use the information obtained and focus on your safety. If you have a suicide plan in place, or if you have fears that you could become suicidal if something happened, if you felt like you might just snap, if you have access to any means of suicide, and try and eliminate any danger. I'd also like to follow up with a formal suicide assessment and see if we need to refer you to inpatient treatment for a while, just for your own safety.